Okay. So, number one, if Mrs. Lozier walks a half a mile every quarter hour, how many miles can she walk in 1.5 hours? So, I always say, if you want to put above your Jamboard, step one is to figure out the label. What two things are you comparing? Okay?
Miles to hours.
And then the second part is setting up the proportion. So if it tells you on the quiz that you have to set up the proportion, you have to do step two, have to. And then step three is to solve. Now there's multiple ways that you can solve a proportion once it's set up. I'm not making you use the cross multiplication method. I'm not making you use the common multiplier method. You can do whatever feels comfortable for that question or for your style, okay? So number one, let's set up the label. So it's asking how many miles can she walk in 1.5 hours. So what'd you say? You want to do miles over hour? Now, like when I was a kid, I would just put M over H just enough so that I can keep organized, okay? The second step is to set up the proportion. The first ratio in the proportion should be given. Somewhere, somehow, it has to be there. It gets tricky if they write the number in words, but I need you to know it's there. So we're gonna, in this case, it's right here. First sentence, first ratio. So you're gonna do 1/2 over 1/4. If you use decimals, fine, but I'm not going over it that way. I want you to see how it's, because there's fractions on the quiz, and I don't know if when you convert them, they'll be terminating. So let's practice keeping them in fraction form. How many miles can she walk in 1.5 hours? 1.5 hours, does that go in the top or the bottom in the second ratio? Bottom. We're looking for how many miles. Okay. Now we're going to solve it. So, how many people found the common multiplier? How many people did cross multiplication? Okay, so we're going to do cross multiplication. Ready? We're going to multiply the top of this ratio by the bottom of this ratio. 1/2 times 1.5. What comes right here? What comes next? Equals x times 1/4. How do you write that? 1/4 x. Okay, so what is 1/2 times 1.5? 3/4. Good. Okay, this is where we're kind of getting, some people are getting confused right here. Some number times 1/4 equals 3/4. How do you figure that out? Divide by 1/4. So I don't typically write it like this, but I'm just doing this to help you. So divide by 1/4. What is 3/4 divided by 1/4? 3. And then what happens over here? 1/4 divided by 1/4 is x. So you get the answer, which is 3. How are we going to state our answer? She can walk 3 miles in 1.5 hours? What's the 3 stand for? The 3 stands for miles, so the answer is 3 miles. She can walk 3 miles in 1.5 hours, or she can walk 1/2 mile in 1/4 of an hour. I wonder how many miles she could walk in 3 hours. How many miles could she walk in 3 hours? Let's see, so 1.5 hours. Yep, 1.5 hours she can run 3 or walk 3. So in 3 hours she'll be able to go 6. Just double them both. Yeah, necessarily, because this is math and there are no other factors. She doesn't get tired. It's math class. She is bionic, okay? No real life factors involved. Okay. Next. I don't know why this is tripping you up, but listen. Shh. Caitlin's hair grows 1/2 inch every month. If her hair continues to grow at this rate, how long will it take her hair to grow 7 inches? So we are talking about comparing which two things? It says how long. In what? So it's something, we're talking about inches, right? But when it says how long, are we talking about like number of years, minutes, seconds? Months. Did you do month over inches or inches over month?
Inches over month.
I want to do inches over month too. You know why? Because we like having time on the bottom. It's comfortable for us. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. Claire, you're with me? Because I'm trying to make a video, so it's hard to get them to hear me if people are talking while I'm talking. Stay with me. I'm just going to go over one more. So the second step is to set up your proportion. So some ratio equals another ratio. The first ratio has to be given. Both numbers have to be somewhere in the question presented to you. What's the first ratio? Half an inch every 1 month, right? Do you see how there's no numerical version, no digits? So you kind of have to pick it out. Half an inch, which is what? Half an inch is going to go where? Inches, we said inches is going to go on top. So half an inch every month. What does that mean? Every 1 month. You see how that could be confusing to some people? How there's actually everything's written out and they're not in numerical form. Do you see that? How that could be confusing? They want to know how long it's going to take to grow 7 inches. Where does the 7 go? Well, I put inches on top, so the 7 has to go on top. And that makes sense because we're looking for time. So we're looking for how many months. So I could put a question mark there, but we don't do that anymore. Now, to me, this stands out. I know exactly what I have to multiply 1/2 by to get 7. Do you? Yeah. What? 14. So there's really no reason to cross multiply here if you see that so quickly. So what is it? What's 1 times 14? 14. So x equals 14. So it's going to take 14 months. Now, it says how many months, so make sure you give the answer in. It says how long, I guess you could say. I would give it in months since they're talking about months. If the question said how many years, you'd have to set it all up like this and at the very end transition over. We're not even giving you problems that are that crazy yet.
Well, you can simplify 2 months into 1.
I wouldn't if it doesn't make you. I wouldn't if it doesn't make you. All right. Oh, careful. All right, go to the next slide. I want to talk about this one together because I had so many questions. Have you tried this yet? So we're on slide, what slide is this? Slide 11. So everybody go to slide 11. Let's talk about these apples, okay? Let's say this said, see how this says proportion homework? So that's why I'm practicing with setting up proportions. Let's just pretend you could do whatever you want. You could go totally rogue. Everybody listening? Because this is where you could potentially get confused when I tell you could do whatever you want. That's actually usually a chance for you to mess it up. Topher, you with me? Okay, listen. If a dozen apples cost $4.32, how much do 5 apples cost? All right, well, first thing I would do is what?
Find out
how much each apple is. What's that called if you find out how much it is for 1 apple?
Unit rate.
Unit rate. I would find the unit rate. It's $4.32. Ha! I pay like $10 for 5 apples, but whatever. I like Honeycrisp. They're very expensive. Okay. So how much is it for 1 apple? That's your unit rate. How do you find unit rate? Divide. What's $4.32 divided by 12?
0.36.
So it's 36 cents per apple. That's not a thing. This is from like 1970. Apples are like, they're very expensive lately. They are like $2. They're almost like $2. It's almost, I think it's almost $2 a piece for the Honeycrisp apples. You should see me. I hide the apples in our outside refrigerator because I don't want anybody wasting the apples. All right, so now, how much would it cost for 5 apples? What do you do with this number? So 5 apples times the cost of 1 apple is going to give me what for all 5? Okay, that is so funny. Sometimes you don't. That's the answer. The other way you could do it is set up a proportion. Dollars over apples, cross multiply. Whatever 5 times 432 is, and get x equals 180. Which way is probably easier for you? Probably this way, right? Bless you. If it says set up a proportion, you would have to do it this way. Questions on that? Bless you. Questions on that? If it says do whatever, and you get the right answer, and you show work, are you okay? Yes. If it says do whatever, and you get the right answer, and there's no work, are you okay? No. If it says set up a proportion, and you use unit, and you do this, is it okay? If it says set up a proportion, you have to show that where you have two ratios equal to each other. You have to show the proportion, okay?
Can I do the work on scrap paper instead?
I prefer scrap paper. But I just need to see it. I'm talking about on the assessment. However you practice is good, okay? But make sure you know what I mean when I say proportion. I'm worried. Do you sense the worry? I'm worried that you won't know to do this if it tells you to do this. Because I know this is more comfortable for you. All right, so you're going to finish this. Homework tonight is posted. Do you see how it says homework in Google Classroom? There's like a couple different weird posts. That's because I keep forgetting to make a copy when I post the Jamboards. I'm making my own self crazy. And then once I mess it up once, it becomes tricky to fix. I won't get into the details of why. So there should be a homework review. Do you see it in Google Classroom? That is tonight's homework. I'm going to give you the answer key through Google Classroom for you to check. Definitely before you get to class tomorrow, probably earlier. And then you're going to practice some more tomorrow doing the Kahoot. And then I'll attach optional more practice, bless you, to do at home. Okay? So check Google Classroom tomorrow. Everything will be there. Got it? These three things. Tonight's homework, in class tomorrow the Kahoot, and then tomorrow homework if you want to do a Google form because it gives you, if you did it right or wrong. And then before class, before we take that quiz, if you have questions on any of this, you can ask me then, okay? How you feeling? All right, I'll walk around and help you. If you had any circles when I was reviewing the homework, if you had any circles, I'll walk around and help you right now. Bye, people at home. I hope you get this video. I'm trying. Say bye. They're really excited to be here. I know they don't sound like they're excited to be here, but they are all smiling under the mask. I can feel it. Okay, have a good day.